Well, good morning and welcome to Zen Live. I've been reading. I don't read. I don't get binge reading very often. I read a little bit slowly. But this weekend, I've been binge reading in my own way the autobiography of Alan Watts, and I've talked about it last night some. And as you can see, I'm getting down here towards the end. And he wrote this in 1972 about his life up to 65. And what can I say? I wrote up here The Power of What. So this is why have I been so engrossed in this? And when I read it, and of course the weather's been so great this weekend, so that I can sit on the front porch after the sun has risen in the east, and I can still sit out there and read. So I've been reading on the front porch a lot during the heat wave. As soon as the sun broke over the horizon, it turned into an oven. So I stay out there and I cook with this book, and I feel the energy flowing through me. It's like there's a touch. Like in the Sistine Chapel when God and man touches. So when Alan and I touch, there is an energy flow. There's an energy flow, a vibration flow to it. And we experience this with people. And this was what Alan Watts' life was all about, was following this energy flow. This is Taoism. And Tao and Zen are pretty much the same, except Zen is Taoism with jokes. So, but Zen basically is the marriage of Hindu Buddhism with Taoism, and you come up with Zen. You see, so Zen is the answer to a koan. So the koan would be: is Buddhism Hindu? Or is Buddhism Chinese Taoism? If you say it's Hindu, you're wrong. If you say it's Chinese Taoism, you're wrong. Now, which is it? And you have to choose, or you'll be punished. So the Zen is the leap, you see, of the contradiction. Leap of the impossible opposites that have to be one, yet cannot be two, cannot be one. The one that is two, yet it cannot be. There must be one. Let there be one is the commandment of the universe that we all obey. Let there be one. Let there be one. Well, Alan Watts, let there be one. There's only one Alan Watts. Let there be one. And yet, you see, he is not the touch, you see, the flow of energy, the flow of prajna, wisdom. That flow of energy is universal. So when you connect with a teacher like Alan Watts, for instance, or any teacher of wisdom, any wisdom teacher, his very life is the grail. You sip from his life, and you receive the boon. You sip from. So he's basically a holy grail, in which you discover the unity of you and the world. So one sip from the holy grail removes the suffering of separation. So this electrical current, in which Alan Watts was the groundbreaker. He was a guy out there on the ice back in the 40s and the 50s. In the 40s, he thought he would become. What am I supposed to do? And I really identify with this. Here he had this something was alive in him. What can I do with it? How can I be of service? So he thought, well, the only thing was, and because he grew up in the Anglican Church of England, I'll become an Anglican Episcopalian priest. The Episcopal Church is is like the Anglican Church, which is the English answer to the cone of national. What should I be? England or the Roman Catholic Church? So they came up with the Episcopal Church. Anyway, I digress. So anyway, he was constantly faced with these cones of incompatible. Back to here again. This is the other side of this. See that? The old woman and the young woman is the other side of this. And life is a pair of opposites. So, like Zen. So Alan Watts is a pair of opposites. Alan Watts is life that as lived as the constant transcendent of opposites. And this is something that has really become so vital to me in these last years of my own particular path and study, is the understanding, and this is why Zen has been such a great boon to me and such a great teacher to me. Not in the sense of I'm being a Zen Buddhist and go to Zen monasteries and all that. I'm not a Zen Buddhist or a Buddhist at all. But Zen is not Zen Buddhism. Zen is life is the transcendence of the pairs of opposites that you find that is your life. Our life is an oscillate. We get caught when we're stuck. The suffering that Buddha pointed out, that is the fundamental nature of life, the suffering of human life, is being trapped in a pair of opposites, and you choose one or the other. And you choose that and deny this. You choose this and deny that. Choosing one and denying the other is basically the way we live life. But as you can see, if you just choose white, you are also, your seed, your root is in the black. If you choose black, your root is in the white. And so this is the dynamic snake eating two dolphins, two cats, two snakes eating itself. You see, it's going around. White is looking for unity in here. See, white is trying to find the one by chasing it in its opposite. And the black is trying to find the one by chasing it in its opposite. So they go round and around and around. And that's history. That's our life, going round and around and around. So the transcendent way, the power of Watts, is to make the leap and include the opposites in your own being. To be the one that includes the opposites. So, the opposite here, the transcendent way here would be not I'm white or I'm black, but I would be black-white. And the transcendent way, and see, these metaphors are everywhere. We're seeing this, the Zen is everywhere. So, the transcendent way here is to be not white or black, but to be white-black or black-white. And include both in you. And gender, here again another metaphor. Am I male or female? So the transcendent way is to be transgender. So this is history. Our very culture is Zen, is working out the dance of metaphors, the dance of the opposites, you see. And so we keep advancing. The dance is taking place in historical form. So this transgender thing, you see, while it has a personal, factual basis to it, which would be an individual who was in a male body but feels female, or an individual who's in a female body but feels inside male, you see. There's a separation here between male and female. So that person is like this Zen cone here. Or so. When you're conflicted in these opposites, like gender or race or religion, or whatever the conflict is of opposites, the pain is intolerable. Because the commandment is there must be one. So I must find in order for me to be whole, in order for you to be whole, you have to find the one. But if we're caught in a play of opposites, chasing ourselves in the other, unable to complete the commandment, unable to be both white and black, male or female, simultaneously. So you see, when we're caught in this play of opposites, we stretch it out in time. So today I'll be white, tomorrow I'll be black. Today I'll be good, tomorrow I'll be bad. Today I'll be bad, tomorrow I'll be good. But I can't be good bad. Today I'm innocent, tomorrow I'm guilty. Today I'm guilty, tomorrow I'll be innocent. So we stretch this out in time, you see. The promised land is in time. So we stretch this out. This is like taffy. Instead of resolving the conflict simultaneously through a leap of transcendence and becoming black-white, we stretch it out in time. We work it out in time. We pull the taffy out, you see, and we create time. The inability to solve the pair of opposites that is life through the transcendent way creates time. And who lives in time but the ego? The ego, the thinker, is time. The thinker is time. This is what Krishnamurti taught me way back when I began to study him in the late 60s. Thought, thinking in time or one. Thinking in time or one. And if you stop and think, well, what do you mean? You mean time is, this is all thought? No, no, no. It means that the awareness of time, the feeling of time is thought. I think about the past. I think about the future. So this is really talking about psychological time. Actual time is always now. Actual time is now. It's always now. There is no time in nature. It's always now. But we can think past and future. So there is the taffy pull. There is the snail crawling across the tabletop slowly in time, you see. But the snail is now. So anyway, the inability to transcend life as a pair of opposites creates time, is what we're looking at here. I just looked at my time. See, there is time. So in my own life, you see, has been basically, here I am at 80 years old, and reading Alan Watts was a little bit like a time capsule, because he goes back and talks about the people, all these people, Fritz Perls and Joseph Campbell and Krishnamurti and oh God, I go on to list them all, but all these great explorers of consciousness that bloomed after World War II, where the cultures of the East and the West collided in California. The Western, it was like the commandment of America was always go west. And so the East became crowded. Go west. So they went to Kentucky, Daniel Boone, and then they went to Lewis and Clark, and then they went to the gold rush in California, and it was always go west. But when they get to California, they put the brakes on. There's the ocean, and there's a cliff, and the whole country, and that's Big Sur, or San Francisco. It's like, where's west now? We've reached the end of America. We're on the edge. Where's the west now? So Alan Watts and the people he was associated with and influenced him, and all the people he talks about in his book that were his company, were all going west. And what was west? The Orient. And it was at California that the Orient came east, and they mixed and they made love in California. and the Oriental wisdom and mysticism of the Orient, the Taoism and the Zen, came and mixed with American rationalism and American science and created the transcendent way, the American transcendence, you see. And these teachings are still flowing through our veins. Alan Watts is gone now, but here I am reading him. Here I am talking about him. And I'm sure everyone here that you're listening is probably come in contact with him, and some has studied him and listened to him. I go through little phases, and I guess it was about, time goes by so fast, maybe 10 years ago, that I really got into an Alan Watts thing, and I reread. I had a lot of his books, and I reread them all, and I got some of his lectures, some long ones, 2 or 3 CDs, and I put them on a flash drive in my car, because my car has a flash drive, and I would just listen to Alan Watts when I was driving around. Wherever I went, Alan Watts was with me. So Alan and I just went for drives. Whenever I go to Walmart, Alan and I went to Walmart. If I go to Richmond, Alan and I go to Richmond. And this is the way you enter into a teaching and begin to connect the electricity. You begin to touch and let the energy flow into you, you see. It's not so much the words, it's not so much the ideas and the concepts. What we're interested in is the flow, the current, the life, you see. What is the life? The universal life. So there's combinations of opposites. So here you take a teacher, like Alan Watts. So here's you, and here's Alan Watts. And so the teaching begins to be objective. It's kind of like a study, comparative religion or whatever, and you study what he's saying in the idea. You study the ideas, you see, and you compare them and you learn them and you take notes, you see. So you're chasing Alan Watts. You're going around and around. What are you trying to do? Let there be one. What does let there be one mean? Je suis Alan Watts. Remember that when the je suis Charlie, that phrase, it's a meme now. You can je suis anything. But when in Europe, when Charlie was attacked by the terrorists, which a cartoon company, the signs were je suis Charlie. Everybody was Charlie. So that's je suis Charlie. Je suis. So the leap, the one, the transcendent one, the answer to the commandment that must be answered, let there be one, is when you find a teacher, a wisdom teacher, and you just eat it, you just imbibe it, you just live in it. Let there be one. Je suis Alan Watts. But that's not the end. You don't say, like somebody in an insane asylum, I'm Napoleon, and you're stuck there. With your, you're stuck. Then no, this is a dynamic unity. Je suis Alan Watts, and then you immerse yourself in Krishnamurti. Je suis Krishnamurti, and then you immerse yourself in Eckhart Tolle. Je suis Eckhart Tolle, and you on and on. Je suis Joseph Campbell. I'm listening to people I've je suis with. Je suis. And so you study them, you read them, you imbibe, you just do that all the time until the touch happens and the electricity flows and the current is enlivened. The power of Watts. Watts is an electrical current. How many, you put in a lamp, put the watts on this thing. Oh, it's 150 watts. Or, it's just 45 watts. Well, we're all kind of like 45 watt bulbs. So you got to turn on a 150 watt bulb, 250 watt bulb, 500 watt, 50 watt bulb. What happens when you put those bulbs in? More awareness. So when you answer the commandment, let there be one, and you find a teacher that you resonate with, you just become that. You just think it, you dream it, you read it, you ride with it. Je suis that teacher. The je suis that wisdom. And then when you are full of it, you move on and you find another one. And it's a succession of light bulbs. You're a 45 watt bulb, you plug into a 60 watt bulb. until you become 60 watts. And then you find a 150 watt bulb, and you just absorb that until you become je suis 150 watts. And then a 200 watt bulb, je suis 200. And that's the way you go. You can't go from a 45 watt bulb to a 250 watt bulb. First of all, you won't understand it. And second of all, you can't hold it. You might get a flash. Poof! A flash bulb goes off. Wow! Am I lit up? But you can't hold it. No, you want to hold the light. You want to keep that light so it burns consistently. So that's the practice of watt bulbs, the power of watts, going from a small bulb to a bigger bulb to a bigger bulb to a bigger. This is the evolution of consciousness. This is the evolution of life. This is the way it works. You can't jump over the stages of watts. You can't frog leap and go, I don't want to do all that work and discipline. I don't want to read all that crap. I want to go to enlightenment right now. How long will that take? I've only got, I'll give it 1 year. You see, that's the American way that wants to, that refuses to do the work. You see, I want immediate satisfaction. I want to get it now, which is what our technology is doing. I mean, as a photographer, used to be, you took a picture in a film, and it took a week to get the film developed, and then it took another week to get the pictures back. Now, it's like, click, computer, print. Oh, crap, it's taken 3 minutes. Oh, bummer, this thing does, I can't wait for this thing. This takes 5 minutes to print. There's one that'll do it in 3 minutes. Bam, you see. So it's kind of like our technology is pushing us to the edge where everything is real time. We can't wait. We want to be enlightened now. We want now. We want to eliminate time through our technology externally in the material world. And that doesn't work because the work has to be done in you because you are time. Thinking is time. So what is the transcendent way? Is to get to the now. The one. Let there be one. Which is now. Let there be one is now. And there's no time there. You're out of time. Ha! You're here. You're out of time. And I'll close with my mother, who when she was 100 said, you know why I'm happy? We were talking about happiness in the car. And I said, why, Mom? And she said, because I have no future. And she smiled. And then she said, after a pause, when I was younger, I had a future and I wasn't so happy. But now I have no future and I'm happy. Now this, in a way, is a metaphorical meaning. It has 2 pointers. One is, well, 100 years old, you don't have much future. But at the same time, she was speaking the truth of the Buddha. She was speaking the truth of Zen. You see. Discover, let there be one, is the discovery of now, and let you be one with now, and then you will have no future. But at the same time, you have a clock, and I see that I'm out of time. So you have both. The transcendent way is you have time and you don't have time. You see? And in your transcendent self, in the power of the watts, you include the opposites in yourself. You are both in time and out of time. You are both relative in time and you are eternally now. The eternal now and time are in love with each other. But you have to find that marriage in yourself. It can't be done externally. Nobody can do it for you. The world can't do it for you. You can't do it in form, because form is time. Form is time because it dies. It fades away. It deteriorates. As you hold the flower, it deteriorates. It's dying. So we're all dying, you see. The moment we're born, we're dying. But is there anything that doesn't die? Let there be one. We have to find that. So thank you for dropping in.
And I'll see you at Martini.